Yeah!
Hey, it's Josh Williams, and welcome to the podcast, episode number 92 for Wednesday, February 13th, 2019. How you guys doing, onesies? How's everybody doing today? There is a crazy storm warning in the Ottawa, Toronto. Oh, look at that. I forgot to turn off my sound, so you get to hear me clicking away, trying to bring up my old little sound card app on the side. Excuse me, Jesus. We're going to be talking this episode, onesies, about me getting sick again. I was sick, just getting over sick last episode, and I got sick again just on the other side of it last week. I watched lots of movies because I was in bed with the gastroenteritis. So, basically, I've been sending people emojis of like the vomiting smiley emoji and the beloved poop when everyone's like, oh my God, it's a plunger that has the poop on it. And it's a coffee mug that has the poop on it. And we forget poop is disgusting. Like, why would you want to drink out of a coffee cup shaped like the shit emoji, huh? He's smiling because he's poo. Morons. Anyways, if you can make poop cute, then buy it. I don't know. It doesn't make human beings are so fucking weird to me. Anyways, I've been doing some LCBO activations as well, despite the fact that I got ill. But yeah, what can I tell you? This last week, I think was a little more fun. Excuse me, a little more fun. I am going to try to make this episode another quick one for anyone who didn't like last week's because it was too short. I would very seriously doubt that's the case. I think it was just more that I had nothing to say last week. But this week, I have a few things to say. The only thing is I'm so jammed busy out of nowhere. I woke up I'm recording on Tuesday as always, but very early. It's actually my first order of business today that I'm doing is getting the podcast recorded. And, out of nowhere yesterday, I woke up and all my plans for this week got completely shuffled around because it turns out I have to be in Toronto a day early for costume fitting for the event that I'm doing on Valentine's Day. And I'll mention that next week. I'll talk all about it because it'll be done. But for now, it's like a big publicity thing for the company. So I'm just being a good little corporate bitch and not saying anything. So just so everyone's unaware. But I will be at Union Station pulling off this event. Yeah, doodle-ding. Keep messaging me. Oh, let's put this phone on vibrate. That's the thing with having so many different devices that are all in the same ecosystem, right? You put like the iPad, plug that into the device, get it recording, turn it off as it's ticking away, and then the phone starts going off. I think that's everything. I got the laptop closed, so it should shut the fuck up. Anyways, so where do I start? Like I said, Union Station, I will be in Toronto, Union Station, Valentine's Day, all goddamn day. So feel free to come by if you're in the Toronto area. That's where I will be, and trust me, I will be noticeable. But I'll tell you more about that next week. This last week, what did I do? I did LCBO activations. So the same thing where I'm walking around the liquor stores trying to teach people how to use their app, how to answer their own very simple questions right on the apps themselves. Biggest issue with that is that people keep bailing. So I'm doing these events and it's not a fucking hard thing to do. You're just basically in a store showing people an app. You don't have to know much about it. It's basically, do you know how to search on Google? Well, it's the same thing. You're just doing that in their app versus, Google. And it brings up everything that you need to know. It'll tell you what section it's in the store. Like it's insanely easy. Excuse me. It's a very, very useful resource. But I did that on Thursday, and then Friday I did the activation. As I was getting finished, I started to have this sort of little bit of a queasy feeling, in my stomach, just a little bit of nausea, which within an hour or so escalated into full-blown illness. And then I spent the entire evening, doing those noises that I made there with, it was rough. And of course you get super dehydrated during that. I was just drink water. Anything with electrolytes, I was trying to keep in my system just so that every time something came up, it didn't hurt like hell. Nothing's, dry heaving is pretty brutal. I remember years ago I was talking with a colleague, but I'm like, how how like when you're a kid, every time you throw up, you cry? You just, I think women still do that. They cry when they puke. I do have to say this though, when Crystal and I first started dating years ago, she would throw up like a champ. She's got a pretty high pain threshold, I've got to say. I just remember like, yeah, I think Crystal's probably like maybe my mom. I don't know if I've ever seen my mom throw up. Not that it's like a spectator sport or anything. It's just like, oh, so someone's like, oh, I'm going to throw up. Oh, I got to watch this. I don't know. It seems very popular in like Jackass movies and stuff. People throwing up on each other all the time. It's just like a humor. Oh, you got him. Oh, you see that? And everyone just laughing at each other, getting puked on. Weird times. But, yeah, I don't know. Of the women I've seen throw up, I don't know if I've seen my mom. I've heard her throw up, but I don't think my mom cries about much. She's a fucking grizzled old vet. The tears have all dried up in her soul. There's none left to cry. But I've seen Crystal cry for lots of stuff. But when it comes to pain stuff, like vomiting and illness and whatever, she's a champ. Anyways, very, very sick Friday night. And as a matter of fact, there's been something that's been really preoccupying me lately. I'm kind of all over the map because, in all honesty, I'm still trying to remember all the things I have to do today before I get on the road. And there's a huge, like all anyone in Ottawa has been talking about the last 24 hours has been this huge snowstorm that's headed our way today. And I have to drive through it. And it hit Toronto and hit Ottawa, and it's just keep hitting us for the next, so it doesn't matter where I'm going. I'm in the thick of it. I'm driving into it as well. So, Crystal, I don't want to go into it too much, guys, honestly, because I feel like talking about it makes it a little more real and whatnot. I'm kind of freaked out. I'm a bit of a pussy when it comes to medical stuff. All my close friends know that. But Crystal found something on me, I guess a couple months back. We were hanging out or whatever, and she found something, and it looked like it was just the beginning of something normal. And then on my birthday when we were hanging out, she noticed it was still there, but she said, "Oh, it looks a little different." She took a better look at it, and she goes, "Oh, I think it's, it does. I don't think it's gotten any bigger or whatever, but it seems like it's got like maybe a whatever." Point is it just occurred to me that I'm like, "Oh, I don't. What about that thing? I checked it the other day, and it's still there." And of course, it's in a spot that I can't see, can't reach, can't see. So anyways, I'm going to the doctor today to get it checked out, and I hope it's nothing. I hope I'm just being a huge fraidy cat over nothing, but there is that chance, right? So that has been on my mind. And of course, I made the appointment last week when it occurred to me again, and I'll talk about it next week once I have something to say. But like I said, I don't want to speculate positive or negative because I don't I don't want to jinx it, if that makes any sense at all. All I know is that it's been preoccupying my mind for the last few days. So I've been doing all sorts of just trying to, think of anything else and I'll go, like I said, next week, hopefully when I have nothing but good things to say about it, I'll just tell you about all the insanity that's gone through my head, in the last few days. But unfortunately, I couldn't record this after the podcast because I have to get on the road to Toronto right away. So I was sort of hoping to be able to do the doctor's appointment and make that, those results part of this podcast. I can't. So yeah, I know my friends will probably reach out when they hear this, but either way, and some of my friends just already know. But anyways, okay. So just having said that, know that like, as much as I'm talking about a bunch of other stuff, I really had something else just constantly sitting on the forefront of my mind throughout all of this pretty much last week. So having said that, I was sick in bed, sore, throwing up, and worried about other shit. I don't know who I got this gastroenteritis from, but I was sick in bed. All I did pretty much was watch movies. And you're trying to relax, trying to get rest. I'm trying not to watch anything that I'm actually wicked into because I'm like, well, I don't want to stay awake. You're just trying to get sleep, right? To sleep off the illness. So I ended up having to cancel an event that I was doing on Saturday, which sucked because I haven't worked for that company in a while. And I was really disappointed that the first thing that they had back for me was something I had to cancel because of the illness. So they're very cool, but yeah, it's disappointing. Whatever. I'm doing an event for them. That's what I'm going to Toronto. Same company I'm doing this big event for in Toronto. They wanted to bring me all the way, literally from one city to another to be a part of it. So they don't hate me. It's just disappointing. I hate bailing on any of these things. And as I mentioned, the other one that I'm working for doing these liquor store things, they have people walking out on a daily basis. So over like for nothing, like it's walking out or just not showing up or showing up 2 hours late. Like it's the easiest money you could possibly make. But Whatever. Kids. That's what happens when you hire fucking kids. You fucking millennials listening. Useless pieces. No, I'm just kidding. It's everybody. But if I do have friends in the Ottawa or Toronto area who are looking to make a little bit of extra money on a, Thursday, Friday night or Saturday, Sunday morning, maybe give me a little ring, text, email. Where can you email? Contact at onemanpodcast.com. Just say like, hey, what is this super cash opportunity you be speaking of? Can't be that bad, guys, because I keep doing it, right? Over and over and over again. I do all these different activations. It is fucking easy. Easy peasy money. But anyways, so what did I do Saturday? I watched movies, and I actually, I started to feel better in the afternoon because I kind of went through it all, Saturday, Sunday. I stopped the around, I would say in the early afternoon. Actually, I would say it was the morning that I stopped that stuff, and I started to feel less nauseous early afternoon. And I was hungry, and I had to do grocery shopping. It was one of the things I intended to do earlier in the weekend, but I was sick. So one of the things that I had to do was get some food, and I was like, yeah, I'm weak. I'm dehydrated. I don't know what to do. So I was like, you know what I think I'll do? I think I will try out the Uber Eats app. I tried it years ago, and my roommates, particularly Jason, orders Uber Eats all the time. And I think it's ridiculous. Uber Eats, for those of you who don't know, which I doubt a lot of you don't know, but regardless, Uber Eats is basically just, it's like now Uber is the delivery guy for like your favorite restaurant. So all sorts of places that would normally not have delivery are now have a delivery because Uber will drive it. So it costs the restaurant absolutely nothing more. Uber takes a fee. The restaurant just charges the regular price, and an Uber driver will pick up the food and bring it to your door. However, there's of course a delivery fee, and the average delivery fee is usually about $5, maybe $5.50. That's average. And I saw something the other day that said that Uber has discounted rates for places that are closer to you. So my big thing with not using Uber Eats before is I think I ordered I think I ordered like a $15 burger and fries platter from this place one time, right? But by the time it came, it was like $28 because I was like, okay, well, I paid like the $5.99 delivery charge, the tax on the thing, tax on both, as a matter of fact. I gave the guy, being a former delivery driver myself, I think I gave the guy a $5 tip. So it's one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's worth it to, do Uber Eats, especially like there's a lot of people, a shitload of people, as a matter of fact, who order Uber Eats from McDonald's. So it's like, you're getting a $10 Big Mac meal, but by the time you put $5 delivery on it and tip, you spent like $20 for a fucking Big Mac and fries when you could have just got in the car and gone through the drive-thru. You know what I mean? Like ordering from a place that has drive-thru makes no sense to me. But I digress. There's all sorts of places that you can get, faux restaurants and sushi places, like all sorts of shit. It opens up a lot of options. So I figured, let me fuck around on Uber Eats and see what there is. I'm hungry. There's no way I have the energy or strength to get up and go out. So let's see what it is. And it's funny enough too, because Friday, before I got sick, I had not eaten. I was really, really hungry. You know what? That's not true. I ate breakfast that day. I did make eggs and toast for breakfast that day, but there's a lot of people who go, I haven't eaten all day. And it's like, yeah, you have. You ate 2 meals. You just haven't eaten in like 4 hours or 5 hours and you're hungry. Or maybe it's just even 6 or 7 hours. But a lot of people, I haven't eaten anything all day. You have. And on that day I had. But I only had breakfast, and I got up really early that day and had breakfast. So I had not eaten all day Friday. And then, of course, I got sick in the evening. I think I ate half of a sandwich that I bought, and that all came up. So needless to say, Saturday afternoon came and I was ready for something in my system. And so I checked out the Uber Eats app, and I found that they are now doing this thing where if a restaurant is close to you, the delivery charge is reduced. So I happened to see that the Subway down the road was only $1.99 delivery. I'm like, well, that ain't half bad there. So I did Uber Eats. I got like the sub of the day, which was like $7.49. I'm like, okay, plus $2. I'm like, we're still under $10 pre-tax. That ain't too shabby. So I got that done up and delivered, and I tipped the guy $3, whatever, because it's like 3 blocks away. And apparently he had like 3. Here's the thing. It said that the estimated delivery time would be like 5 minutes from the restaurant, and the guy took 15 minutes to get here. So I do knock down the tip a little bit when there's absolutely no reason for a huge delay. So anyways, whatever. $3 to fucking drive 5 blocks You're welcome. You goddamn welcome. So anyways, the only thing I didn't like, and I don't know if you guys find this with Subway, but every now and again you'll get someone who's like crazy stingy with the toppings. So like I had put in my order like please extra. Like one of the funny things was in the Uber Eats app, it said toasted bread only or toasted sandwich. It didn't actually give you a not toasted option. You know what I mean? They just like, you're getting it toasted. Your bread's toasted no matter what. So just the bread or everything on the bread. And I was like, I put in the notes, please don't toast anything because my tummy's still sore. I don't want to be eating crunchy bread in my tummies. But yeah, I just wanted soft. I'd been sick all night. So I ordered that, and there were some vegetables that I said, please put extra this, and this. Extra, not regular, extra. And when I got it, it was probably the least amount of vegetables I've ever had in a sandwich, which I found to be, maybe it was a blessing in disguise, but generally speaking, it's not the vegetables that turn your stomach. It's been the meat or the sauce. But I will tell you, I was genuinely like disappointed. I was kind of like, you know what? That's the bit of a drawback to it being an order versus being there in the store where you go, oh yeah, can you put vegetables on it? I like that you shook off what was stuck to the glove, but can you actually just put the shit on the sandwich? Don't dip your fingers into the veggies and be like, here, this is the flavors of them. I just rubbed my fingers on your sandwich. There you go. Some places are so cheap and you're like, you know what? You think that you're saving money by being stingy. It's like, it's going to cost you, man. People are going to see that. They're not going to come back to your location. There's Subway locations that I will avoid because I know how cheap they are. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Subway has like rules as to how many, how much you get on. Obviously you see when that they're putting the meat and the cheese, they put like 3 slices on and then 2 slices of cheese per half. This is going into like fat guy food economics. But you know what I'm saying? Everyone's noticed that. You get your two slices of cheese per half of the sandwich, right? Per 6 inch. We'll put it in their terms, their measurements. Right. But did you know that you're supposed to get like 3 tomatoes per side, that you get like 4 cucumbers? Like they have a set amount of measured items. That's why they deal out the tomatoes like poker chips. It's not like they're like, oh, we're just decorating. We're sandwich artists. We're just decorating it properly. No, they're flat out educated. Like this is how much you put on everything. And if they ask for more, they can have more, but they have to ask for more. Anyways, I find that shit ridiculous. And yeah, if I see you being super stingy, and if I go, can I get more onions, please? And you grab like 1 or 2 more onions, I'm gonna keep asking that until you just do it. So yeah, extra, please, and extra, and extra. Let's go. Let's get us out of here. The more you're gonna piss everyone off behind me, because I'm gonna go until you actually put extra on. Anyways, so I was really disappointed. The overall experience wasn't horrible. It was easy. I didn't have to get out of bed. I was sick, right? This is way too long of a fucking review of Uber Eats. All I can say is that I was glad I got a sandwich. I was actually able to eat. I was so hungry. I ate the entire thing. There wasn't a lot on it, so it wasn't hard to. But I was disappointed that it was kind of like, you even asked for, hey, make sure I get extra pickles, extra cucumbers. And it was like, nothing. So there you go. That's what I did. I ordered Uber Eats for the first time in 3 years. And I got to say, I will do it again. If it does stay like $1.99 and you can get places where it's like, all right, I don't want to drive down to Subway. I'll pay, $5 to not do that. $2 delivery, $3 to the driver. There you go. I'll do that. I will say, if you order Uber Eats and you don't tip the driver, you're a piece of shit. When the option's right there at the top and it's like, would you like to include a tip? And you're like, oh, no, nah. I would say the reason to tip the Uber, you don't have to tip your Uber driver when you're doing rides. Okay. I've never given you guys shit for that and been like, you got to tip the driver. It's nice. It's definitely appreciated. But the Uber Eats guys, they have to find parking at that restaurant. They have to go in, they have to wait in line like everyone else to pick up your food. And then, they got to find a spot to park on your street, especially when the weather's like this, snow everywhere and snow banks and streets are narrowed, to find a spot to come and, knock on your door. And that's if you happen to live in a house, right? If you're in an apartment building, whole new fucking can of marbles. So just tip them. They are doing the extra work, and they are not getting paid the delivery fee. They're getting paid the same rate of driving that they get when they're driving a ride. Only they don't have to find parking for that. They don't have to, ring your buzzer and you weren't listening. Oops, my phone was on vibrate. Like, I'm telling you guys, there's so much shit that happens to delivery guys that you wouldn't consider that just makes their lives miserable. Give them at least $3 for the trouble of having to find parking, go get your food, run into the store, wait with everyone else, find parking on your street, deal with you answering or not answering your buzzer or your phone or your door or whatever it is. It just be nice. All right. Off my soapbox for that one. And then later in the evening, so I kept down that food. I actually started to feel a little bit better, having a little something in my system, some nice veg. And then I think I had to move the car later on that evening. So, when I got in the car to move, like I was parked behind Jay. So I got out in the car to let Jay out, and I was like, you know what? I'm in the car already. I think I'm going to go get something else to eat. At this point, I have these cases of water left over from an activation that I did, New Year's, right? The stay hydrated thing. And, I was chugging water all day, and it's it's alkaline water, not electrolyte, alkaline water. So I was chugging water all day, trying to get my hydration back up. And, but I know I needed salt. My system was like salt. You need salt. So I went on the cheap and I drove through, what's it called? Burger King, arguably one of the worst fucking burger joints there is. I never go to Burger King. But they did have 2 Whoppers for $7. And I'm like, that's a big burger with a lot of salt. I think that's what my system is telling me I need right now. And I've actually been a very good bitch lately with food. And maybe I'll tell you more about that later. Depends on how much time I have. I really am on limited time today. So I'm wasting it bitching about Uber Eats and not getting my extra lettuce. But, yeah, what I'm getting at is, I needed the salt. And then across the street was like a A&W, and I had a coupon for like one of their breakfast sandwiches. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get these 2 Whoppers. I'm going to get a breakfast sandwich, and then I'm just going to go home and I'll have these things next to my bed. So when I'm ready to put a little more food in my system, that's what I'll do. And I managed to wrangle in all that shit for under $10. Huh? Who's a fucking smart little death shopper? So yeah, that's what I did with my Saturday. And I watched movies, as I mentioned. What did I watch? I think we could just get into the fact of the matter. Maybe I'll just get into some of the movies that I watched. Huh? What about that? I think, is there anything else I have of note to tell you about the week before I move on? Yeah, yesterday was an absolute gong show. I did go to Costco after my activation on Sunday. So I was right back to the grind Sunday morning doing the LCBO stuff. And then I managed to get across the street. I was very close to a Costco. So I got to Costco and I just picked up a bunch of vegetables, soups, salads, like pre-mixed salad stuff. And I've just been doing, make it at home, make it on the low. I want to say food portioning, but I'm not making like preset meals. I'm just making sure like I'm making sandwiches and I'm making them with like a good portion of stuff, like not good as in like, wow, look how much they gave me, but good is just like, all right, you don't need, let's say just as an example, it's not the case, but like you don't need, 3 slices of meat on that. Just put 2, just anything where you can cut carbs. And I'm also listening to my body a lot more where, I'll make a meal. I don't know if you guys do this. I'm sure, a lot of you are shaped like human beings, not like a manatee like myself, but if I make a plate of something and I'm just like, I sort of get full of it, I'm just like, all right, just finish it. Like, I don't know where we got that mentality, right? Obviously it's, to not be, you don't want to be gluttonous. And at the same time, it's like, if there's food in front of you, people used to give that whole like, oh, there's starving people. Like, so I don't know. I just got it into me. It's not even so much about the starving people, it's just about wasteful. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's disrespectful to make food and not finish it. But you can pack it up for later, right? Like there was just something we never did. Like my mom never had containers and saran wrap and shit. Like it was just saran wrap was something we just never bought. So I think I just developed this habit since I was young that just, if you clean your plate, but I'm not doing that anymore. Definitely something that just adds calories to you for no reason. If you're full, stop. And that's what I've been doing lately is as soon as I feel myself getting full, there's no need to finish what you've got in front of you. Grab a piece of saran wrap, throw it over the top of your plate. If you get hungry later, then fine. And I'm trying to establish the difference between hungry and bored. And I know that might sound absolutely asinine to some of you, but sometimes you're just sitting there, you're just like, man, I just want to eat something. And it's probably fucked up mental, emotional shit. Who cares what it's called? It exists. It's there. So I even bought a book too. So I'm gonna see if I can read that this week while I'm in Toronto. Just try to focus on this. But I'm doing better. I'm doing better, and I'm making good food, and I'm eating less. And obviously, part of it is this little kind of medical sort of scare thing. Again, it's could be absolutely nothing, but part of it's like, you know what? No matter what the result is, I'm just gonna use this as an opportunity to be like, okay, you're whether it's, let's put it this way, whether it's something bad or not, it's still something that like, you know what, if your body was in better condition, it wouldn't be doing this. So let's stop making your body a breeding ground for bad things to happen. So who knows, man? Maybe, hopefully it's just a reality check and it's, it's nothing serious. Oh, I just wanted to be like, God, I'm telling you guys, fucking 4 or 5 days of just, I don't know. But hey, let's just keep thinking about it. It's not, I know everyone's like, well, there's nothing you can do, so just don't worry. I'm like, I know their heart's in the right place, but you can't tell someone with anxiety and neuroses to just not think about something and to not worry about it. It's like saying, hey, just don't be yourself for 5 days. Just don't be you. Just if you see yourself in the mirror, just be like, I don't know. So anyways, whatever. Last night I went to the casino with Jay. So yeah, like I said yesterday, I had to shuffle around so many things to be able to leave for Toronto today. I went to the casino with Jay. We had a good time. We had a dinner there. What else did we do? I had a couple beers. Jay lost so much money and then won it all back. Good for him. I had to leave before he did because I was doing a fundraiser at Absolute Comedy last night. I wasn't doing it. I was on a fundraiser show last night, closing that out. Good show. It was for a good cause. There's a lovely woman there who's been battling brain cancer. And one of the comics, it's funny, like started off the show, like kind of singling her out, not intentionally. The comic is a good person and would never do that. I just don't think he understood that the person he was talking to was the one that the fundraiser was for. So it was like, I think it kind of like just turned the crowd a little bit. They weren't expecting that. But yeah, so, that was interesting. And everyone was saying to me like, hey, just please don't say anything to her. Please don't make her feel bad or joke about it. I'm like, wow, that's never been me. I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, someone's in the crowd with cancer and they're fighting it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make fun of you. I do lots of crowd work in my act. I talk to the crowd, I poke fun, whatever, but I never, and this is absolutely true, I never make fun of something that people can't change. I don't make fun of the way people look in terms of physically. Okay. I never make fun of people's weight or something like that. And even though that's something you can change, it's not something that you can change necessarily in a speedy way. And we also don't know what's causing it, right? So just, I'm being empathetic, but I don't make fun of somebody's race or anything like that. Unless it's a more of a positive thing, like I'll bring attention to it, but usually in a positive, not in a negative. Like I've been known to make jokes about talking to a black guy, mentioning how I'm like, you have a huge dick, right? Like positive stuff. No one's like, no, I don't like that you assume that the biggest aspect of my ego is doing fantastic. I don't know. Fuck. At least for lots of guys, like, someone's like, you had a huge dick. Like, yes, my masculine icon is whatever. So I will make fun of things like your job. I'll make fun of the clothes you're wearing, a style or something. But things you can change. Do you know what I mean? Things that, like, I'm stuck with it. Like I'll make fun of, I'll ask questions and things like that, but I'm not going to see someone who is battling terminal cancer and make fun of them for it. That's not who I am. That's never who I've been. So I was a little surprised to hear that at least it was the comic who was putting on the show, for this person. This person was close to them. So I was just a little kind of like, oh, I don't know why you would think that, that's never who I've been. So that's never been who I am. Who knows? Whatever. I'm sorry. Now I'm nitpicking grammar. Too many distractions. But here's one thing that was a little disappointing to me was I was on the fence about whether or not I was going to talk about it, but I was trying to do a few new things last night, and I kind of wanted to bring up what was going on with me and my scare. However, we use the stage as therapy, but I couldn't because I felt like, okay, well, I'm going to talk about how I'm worried that I might have something in front of this person who does and is losing. So I felt like that would have been incredible. It would have been in poor taste, and it would have been like, no, I'm worried I might. It's like, you do. And yeah, I don't know. It would seem in very poor taste. So I didn't. I was like, fuck, I got to switch it around. Whatever. Show went great. I just didn't do what I wanted to do last night because I didn't know. I knew that they do a fundraiser every year, and I think previous years they've done it for like marathons and running for stuff. So I didn't know what the cause was this year until I got there last night. So I was a little taken aback, just in terms of what I was planning on doing. So it went fine. It went quite well. But I just wasn't overall happy with it because you don't like to pull an audible last minute. But my friend Scott, who put it on, was very, very happy. Was again, he's like, oh, I'm so glad you were part of this and thank you so much for doing it and all that. I was happy to help. So had a good time. Thank you, Scott, for doing that. I got Scott's name on the list down here of touch and go options should my first call not be answered. So maybe we'll see from Scott firsthand how it went, and maybe he can give a review. He was also very drunk last night, so we'll see how he's feeling. But anyways, that was my week. So I will tell you a little bit about some of the shit that I watched, because since most of it was laying in bed being sick, I will tell you I watched a couple flicka shows, as they used to call them back in the day. Just checking the time here, 20 after 11. I have to stop this at, the good news is there's maximum 40 minutes left, because I got to stop at noon, get the shower change, and get my ass out the door to the doctors. To fucking put this insanity, give it a name, one thing or another. Like Rumpelstiltskin. Sorry, just my throat's still very, very dry. Okay, so watched a movie called Velvet Buzzsaw. Saw it on Netflix. It's another Netflix original. Jake Gyllenhaal, John Malkovich, Rene Russo, Toni Collette, that chick from Stranger Things, and then everyone else I have no idea who the fuck they are. That chick from Stranger Things, the one who's the sister with the goofy looking face. Huh? She can't change her face. You're making fun of her. Yeah, well, I'm not doing it. I'm not making fun of her too, her weird looking face. So yeah, what was I going to say? Okay. So it's a movie about like a bunch of artsy people, like art connoisseurs and art dealers. And, Jake Gyllenhaal plays like an art critic. I think it's very funny because they never really got into like who does what. But then this one person, one of these artsy people, finds like a dead dude in the hallway of her building. And then it turns out he was an artist. She goes into his apartment and finds like all these paintings, and they're all super good and weird and this and that. And she takes a bunch, shows them to Jake Gyllenhaal's character, who's like, these are fantastic. Who's the artist? Are you representing them? And blah, 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 blah. And she's like, no, I'm the one who found them. They're all mine. And this and that. And then the paintings, like, very slow crawl. These paintings cause people to like die, and it's almost like the way the trailer presents it is like that the paintings themselves come to life and attack people, but basically it affects the art around you or things around you. So it's like, it's very difficult to tell, but it's like, it's not the paintings necessarily that are haunted. The art itself like releases some sort of like evil spirit. Yeah, it's very, very difficult to explain. All I know is that it looks like it's supposed to be a thriller. And yeah, and it's funny because I'm just thinking of it now, and I don't think it affects anything in the movie other than other art. But it's like haunted paintings that haunt other art and turn that art into, it's like a Final Destination meets stupid. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. And we kept waiting for it to get better. It didn't. It's hokey. The characters, and here's the thing about a movie, is that some of the characters you have to be rooting for. You have to like something about them or whatever. None of the characters in this movie are likable. They're arrogant, they're egotistical, they're so self-centered. There was nothing likable. So every time someone died, you didn't care. Didn't care at all. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times in a horror movie, they'll be like that douche, and he's usually one of the first ones to go because he's just rude to people, fucks other people over, whatever. So you're like, you're excited. You're actually excited when that person dies because you're like, yeah, now he's going to get his. So there's always that one death that you're happy happened, I think. But that's not even the case with this because everyone's so unlikable. You're not even like, well, I can't wait till, this one goes and that one. Can they all just die right now? Right now, They're all super, super unlikable in this movie. John Malkovich is in it for almost no reason. Like you don't even know what the point of his character was. And I mean that, like, not like, why was he there? I don't understand why his character was in that movie, how him being there added anything to the movie at all. Yeah. So Velvet Buzzsaw, huge thumb down, heaping pile of garbage. Watch the trailer. I would suggest that just next time you're flipping through Netflix, check out the trailer for Velvet Buzzsaw. It actually looks half decent. Garbage, hot, steamy, smelly, stinky, sweaty garbage. I watched the last half of The Walking Dead season 8. I don't remember why I stopped watching. I think I just got busy and new things came and I got into them. But Walking Dead season 8, I finished that up. I saw what happened there. I know that it's funny too, because I was watching that on Sunday, and turns out that Sunday was like the season 9 or mid-season premiere or whatever. So the show's back for its second half of the 9th season. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the show is still good or not. It seems like they got a lot going on, but I really don't know what the fuck is going on with that show anymore. You know, it was interesting to watch the last part of the season, but I just don't know what's what. So anyways, we'll see what's going on. Walking Dead season 9, so it's still going strong, it seems. I just wonder if it's any good. It didn't get anywhere near as violent as it did at the beginning of season, I think 7 was. The beginning of season 7, when they're all on their knees lined up, man, that was intense. That was pretty fucking cool. Maybe it was even season 6, because I know they've been going back and forth with Negan for a while. So anyways, it wasn't shitty. There's been worse seasons of The Walking Dead, but that was pretty good. Another movie that I watched. This one was probably the best one that I watched. The next one, I've only got one more I'm going to talk about after this, but that one I'd already seen. I actually saw it in theaters. So, this was another Netflix original, written and directed by the Coen brothers. And it's called, now it came out back in October or November. So I know that, I know I'm a little late to it. All right. Maybe some of you guys are like, oh, another Netflix original. Bang, watch it. Who knows? I don't. I'll wait a little bit. But the one that I saw was The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's, the trailer makes it look like it's sort of a longer thing. It's a series of stories, but they make it look like some of the characters come back to the other ones. It's not. It's six. Is it 6? Give me 1 second here. Boopity, 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 boopity. I think it's 5 or 6, independent stories. Okay, give me a second. Boom. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, 6 stories. Not that it was important, but all based around the Old West. All right. And very, very big names in the cast. The stories have big differences to them. I read an article that said that the underlying theme with all of them seems to be this, but the Coen brothers have said themselves that wasn't an intention. It just happened to be that the stories that they were telling do involve, this theme. And that's not the Old West, of course, because they all have that theme, obviously. But it was just it was really well done. It is violent. It's not gory. It's just violent. It has very, Hateful Eight, Kill Bill kind of, violence. So it's over the top, but it's funny. It actually watches a lot like a Tarantino movie in a lot of regards. But, yeah, it was good. It was really, really good, guys. I don't really want to give much away, but man, if you're looking for something interesting to watch, definitely check out The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. That's the first story. And then there's several, 5 other stories afterwards. So, when you watch the trailer, like I said, it makes it look like the characters are intertwining, whatever, but some of the story, they're not. Like every story is independent, and that's all you get, When one of the stories ends, you will never see that character again in the movie. Just a heads up in case you're like, oh, I wonder if they come back and they get more close. Nope. Nope. But it's good. It's not one where you feel like, oh, but there's so much more to tell. Like you get what they were saying. There's one story Kamar warned me because I just started watching it and Kamar came home and he's like, oh, are you watching this? I go, yeah, did you see it? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, they're all good. Because I remember when it first came out, Jason watched it, and in true Jason form, he didn't get what a lot of the stories were. So Jason's like, the first 2 are good. And then he goes, and then there's 3 ones that are like, yeah, they sucked. And then the last one, I didn't understand. I was like, okay. So I'm like, so it's kind of just eh. But then I asked Kamar. Kamar's like, yeah, they're all good. And one of them is really sad. And And I was like, okay. And I got to say, Kamar was right. In fact, I found two of them to be particularly sad. One of them is just, heart wrenching. But fuck. Yeah, it was pretty sad. But great movie overall. So if you haven't seen it, check out The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. And finally, I watched the Lego Batman movie. That was my, okay, I'm going to try to fall asleep again movie. Put that on. I also had Let's Go to Prison for that with Dax Shepard and Will Arnett. Funny enough, Will Arnett, the voice of Batman in the Lego Batman movie. Huh? So how about that? Will Arnett puts me to sleep, I guess. But no, that's what I do. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if you're like me and you just can't fall asleep without something on in the background to take away from the brain terrors, I don't know what to call it. When you get those anxious thoughts in your head that just can't let you relax, go to sleep. Hey, put something on in the background that that distracts your brain until you pass out. That's what I do. And I put on the Lego Batman movie and Let's Go to Prison. So Lego Batman movie I saw in theaters. It's actually very charming. I know you're like, DC, really? DC? Every movie they make is a steaming pile of shit. You know what? You're right. Steaming pile of shit in their DC universe. Wonder Woman was okay. I'll give it that. They did a good job. Captain Marvel's coming up very soon. She's probably going to blow that one out of the water. Marvel's first leading woman role movie already looks 10 times better. But anyways, no, I watched the Lego Batman. The Lego Batman movie, guys, is definitely, it works for adults too. It's very funny. It's very entertaining. They do lots of callbacks to everything Batman. So, Christopher Nolan's Batman to the, Tim Burton Batmans to the, 1960s Batman. There's a lot of callbacks to all of the different things, lots of tongue-in-cheek humor and stuff like that. Fun movie. It's on Netflix, so feel free to watch it. Everything I talk about for the most part is on Netflix. Check it out, y'allses. It's a great flick. All right, there you go. DC, Lego Batman, Buster Scruggs, big thumbs up. But avoid Velvet Buzzsaw. Or if you watch it knowing that you're just watching a shitty movie, and that usually will let things go by. You're not expecting it to get good. So there you go. 41 minutes in. That was my week, huh? How about that? What's going on with you guys? You want to send me an email? Contact at onemanpodcast.com. Let me know what you think of some of these movies. I still expect emails from you guys. That's what I do. I go, you know what? I'm going to invite them to send an email, and I hope to hear back. Let's see if I do. Okay? Because I want to know what you guys think about these things too. You watch movies too. Make a recommendation for me. Because I guess I've been better for 2 or 3 days, which means I'm about to get sick again. So maybe fire me a little list of some movies you've watched recently that you thought wouldn't be, that you were pleasantly surprised when watching. Okay? Something for me to point my anxiety. I'm going to need distractions over the next little bit. So I'm stuck in Toronto for like the whole day tomorrow. I had to do a costume fitting, I think I mentioned, for this week's thing. So I'll do that first thing in the morning tomorrow, and then I'm just stuck in Toronto all day. So going to watch some Netflix, going to read some books. And this actually comes out tomorrow morning. So I will have, you guys can start messaging me and letting me know what you think I should do or watch or what. So with that, let's get right into partners at portablepress.com. Here in this week, I have got Uncle John's Unsinkable Bathroom Reader. All right. There's all sorts of different bathroom readers at portablepress.com. You can find something you're into, and let's do that. So I picked this article just because I thought it was funny. I've been finding little pieces of information about studies and things like that. And of course, I don't know, something about studies just makes me think the medical field, and with what I got going on, I'm like, yeah, maybe this just themes correctly with this week's show. So this article is called Let's Do a Study. If you're worried that the really important things in life aren't being researched by our scientists, keep worrying. So the first one, have you ever been around someone who yawned and you suddenly had to yawn too? It's a common thing in humans. No one knows why, but scientists at Birkbeck College in England discovered that dogs can catch yawns from people too. A 29-dog study found that after they made eye contact with a yawning person, 21 of the dogs yawned as well. Wonder how much that cost. Next study. University of London doctoral students Sarah Carter and Christine Astrom discovered that as male college professors ascend the academic ladder from lecturer to senior lecturer to tenured professor, they are more likely to grow beards. Yep. Next study. In 2005, linguists from the University of Barcelona discovered that rats have difficulty telling the difference between Japanese spoken backwards and Dutch spoken backwards. That's a study. I wonder if rats would be able to tell the difference between Japanese and Dutch when spoken backwards. Like they understand the languages the right way forward. Like this, that's my University of Barcelona. So if you think about going to the University of Barcelona thinking, are these people going to teach me? I think they're going to take your money and they're going to spend it on stupid things. A joint study conducted by the Gloucestershire Royal Foundation Trust and the Sword Swallowers Association International, really thing, concluded that sword swallowers were at high risk for sore throats, cuts in the esophagus, and internal bleeding, especially if they were distracted while swallowing swords. Glad they did a study for that. It's not that they suffer that, they just at a high risk. In the 2004 study, Fragmentation of Rods by Cascading Cracks, French physicists Basile Adoloi, Adoli, Audoly, and Sebastien Newkirk looked into why when dry spaghetti is bent, it breaks into lots of smaller pieces instead of cleanly in half. I did a study on that. Okay. 2 left, guys. Isn't this crazy? The money that's spent on this dumb shit. They don't even tell you why they were studying it. Food scientists at Leeds University in England tested more than 700 combinations of cooking temperatures and ingredients in order to determine the formula for the perfect bacon sandwich. Their finding: thin, crunchy bacon works best. Finally, cognitive psychologist Daniel Oppenheimer of Princeton, a North American place now, wrote a study arguing that short, simple words make writers seem more intelligent than long words do. The name of Oppenheimer's study: Consequences of Erudite Vernacular Utilized Irrespective of Necessity. So I'll do that again, getting that third word that fucked me. Consequences of Erudite Vernacular Utilized irrespective of necessity. Yeah, what an asshole. All right, guys, let's do a study. There you go. That's people spending their time and money, and not their money, of course, but spending their time and other people's money on dumb shit. I would love to know if there was a point to any of these studies. I mean, besides the ones stated. The running feed at this: there are more English-speaking people living in India than in the US, UK, and Canada combined. Whoa! That's an interesting little fact there, hey? And that was my partners at portablepress.com. Uncle John's Bathroom Reader. Blah, 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 blah. From portablepress.com, guys, check out what they got. They got all sorts of cool stuff out there. Who else do we got? Oh, my partners at Absolute Comedy, of course, and... not this week that we're currently finishing off, but next week, yours truly is headlining my home club here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, from February 19th to 24th. So check out absolutecomedy.ca to get your tickets for that. Or, of course, if you're looking for a show at any of the awesome clubs at any time, right? Kingston, Ottawa, Toronto, you can check out absolutecomedy.ca and get info and tickets there. Absolute Comedy is the best live stand-up comedy from across North America, with locations in Kingston, Toronto, and Ottawa, Ontario. These comedians have been featured on Just for Laughs, Netflix, Comedy Central, CBC's The Debaters, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Conan, The Comedy Network, and much, much more. Go to absolutecomedy.ca to see this week's lineup. Planning a night out is easy with dinner and show packages, available at all locations. Live comedy is a great choice if you're organizing a celebration, fundraiser, company outing, or corporate event. Want the show brought to you? They'll send comedians to your venue with performances tailored to your event, creating a night of laughs your guests will love and won't soon forget. So for showtimes, ticket prices, gift certificates, special shows, and more, head to absolutecomedy.ca. Again, that's absolutecomedy.ca for the best live stand-up comedy from across North America. Oh, and we're back. Did I forget anybody? I didn't. You know I didn't. My partners at dk.com/ca in Canada. Of course, dk.com in the States. My partners, Dorling Kindersley, right? DK Books, guys. And this week I figured, you know what? Slag DK a little bit with the, with their movies, because their movies suck. Their movies do suck. You know what? And they got more of them coming, and they're going to suck too. Aquaman, I haven't seen. Like normally, I would just go see them to support. When Justice League came out, I'm like, I'll check that out. That's it. I'm done. If they end up on Netflix, I'll give them a go. But honestly, Aquaman, right? Like, are we really doing that, guys? Is anyone like, yeah? Like, people are spending their money on that shit, right? Not all their characters are fucking. Oh, I'm gonna shit on DC right before I review a DK. It's too close to DK too, right? DC, boo, DK, yay, right? That's how you can remember it. Does DC rhyme with yay? No. Well, then it's not it's not a yay. DC, absolutely everything you need to know, because they do have good characters, guys. The comics, apparently their TV shows are fantastic. A lot of people huge fans of the TV shows. But when it comes to the movies, man, they just got to ditch that Jackson. You got Shazam coming out. What's that? A story of a boy who has a magic word, Shazam, where he becomes a superhero. With what powers, Josh? What unique powers from the other kinds of characters does this one have? The ability to fly, super strength, the same as all the other DK or DC. All the same as all the other DC heroes. But there are a lot of interesting DC characters. And this book is everything that you need to know about DC. All right. Absolutely everything you need to know. They've got all sorts of great information here. So if you're a fan of, DC comics and you're wondering how they worked, they talk about Superman in here. They go into all sorts of different things on Batman, a lot of the different kinds of enemies and things like that too. So it's not an encyclopedia. It's just fast, quick facts about DC stuff that's going to let you know. It does talks about the difference between Batman and Bruce Wayne. All right. Not the obvious ones, but just the different personality types and the doings that they have. Batwoman is in here and Batwomen, like Batgirl and all that stuff. Aquaman, of course, is spoken about. Wonder Woman is in here. Green Lantern, all those ones, but it's really cool. They've even got a few little sort of like timeliney things in here. They've got different wars, Justice League stuff. Just a lot of different things. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say in terms of review. As usual, it's done beautifully. DK does a wonderful job of putting in imagery with their details. They deal with the cosmic forces stuff in here too. They show a lot of like the villains high tech as well, because we all know Batman's got all the high tech stuff. It shows some of the high tech stuff for the villains. But what's really cool about this book is it's just going to give you more about the sort of the characters and things like that you may be interested in. So if you're a DC fan, if you're someone like me, because I'm a big Marvel fan, I think that goes without saying. I love the Marvel movies. I love the Marvel stories. I like the characters. I've mentioned before that one of the things that I like about Marvel is that their superheroes don't seem to have, they don't have all of the powers, right? So you look at what's his face? Green Lantern. Right. And I know he's DC. So I'm going back to DC for a second here, but you look at Green Lantern and what's his thing? Well, he can fly. He's super strong. He can manifest lasers and guns and stuff. Superman, he's strong. He can fly. He can laser eyes, everything, nothing could stop him. Bulletproof. Shazam. Well, he can fly. He's super strong. It's like at one point you're like, okay, like do they make anything different? Are they all the same character? Wonder Woman can fly, she's super strong. It's just like, who's making these people that you just can't come up with? They just come up with a different backstory, but their powers are all the same. And that's what I don't really like about the DC. Even though Batman's human, he's rich, so he just has all these tools that make him able to do everything that, you know what I mean? For all intents and purposes, and maybe that's why people love of all the DC characters, Batman seems to be the favorite, because maybe he's just the most, let's say, relatable in the sense that he's just not some alien powered super god. That's what I like about the Marvel characters, switching back to Marvel, is that they are understandable in the sense that they have limitations, right? Not each one of them is, bulletproof. Not every one of them has, certain superpowers. Like Mr. Fantastic in Fantastic Four, he stretches. That's his thing. Thing is big and made out of rock. The Human Torch can fly and he's got fire, but he's not super strong. You know what I mean? He can't lift fucking cars and hurl them and he can fly and he shoots fire. Like that's the Human Torch. So it's interesting that I like, and I just went into Fantastic Four. I don't know why I picked them. Just it's a quick, easy group, but there's lots of people, like Beast in X-Men, right? he's not super strong, but he's strong. He's shaped like a beast and he's a smart guy. That's it. You know, Hulk is just a beast. But here's even the thing with Hulk is he like lost his intelligence early on. Then they made Professor Hulk. But really, like the thing was like he would just turn into like a rage machine. But it wasn't like he was rage and smart. That was the thing. It's like there was trade-offs, you know? So it was interesting to me to see the Marvel stuff because you knew everybody had, you know, way more weaknesses than like kryptonite. You know, he's immune to everything except kryptonite. So every comic will be someone using kryptonite against him. It just kind of makes for weak stories. And then they're like, and all of their characters are going to be orphans too. What do you mean? Well, Batman's an orphan, Superman's an orphan, you know, Wonder Woman's some sort of Amazon orphan. Like, just, you know, let's just write one story over and over. So that's what, anyways, who cares? My point is that if you want to know everything about all of these very unoriginal characters from DC, there is a wonderful, wonderful book by my partners at DK. DC, absolutely everything you need to know. It is a great book, and it does tell you some very interesting things. I find the villains in DC super fascinating. I like them a lot, but the heroes I find meh. So the book is great. The book is giving you fantastic information on these meh characters, but yeah. So like I said, if you are a DC fan, right, we all know we've got our side, it's Apple and Samsung of comics. Check it out. It is a wonderful book and it will give you wicked, cool little pieces of tidbits. So like I said, if you're like me and you got into that kind of stuff, I was never a comic book reader. I watched cartoons and stuff when I was young and I learned the characters that way. And then of course, later as I got into my adult years, I watched the movies. So that was me with Marvel. Maybe that's you with DC. You watch the cartoons and stuff when you're young and you don't really know as much about these characters as you'd like to. Well, this is the perfect book. Absolutely everything you need to know from DK. Thank you to my partners, DK, Absolute Comedy, and of course, portablepress.com. Thank you guys so much. Now we're going to do a little touch and go here. I'm going to give a phone call to my buddy Ryan McGlunab here just to see how he's doing. Ryan is a comic from Toronto, a good friend of mine. And I'm going to be seeing him later on this evening. Hopefully. I spoke with Ryan yesterday, so let's just see here if he answers. There he is. Sometimes it takes me a second to find it in my phone. Let's see how old Ryan's doing. I think he's working at the club too, so he might not be able to answer. But either way, we'll talk to Scotty then if we don't get Ryan. Mm-hmm. 15 minutes, guys, before I gotta shut this shit down. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't think we're gonna get him.
Hi, you've reached the desk of Ryan McGlunab with Absolute.
Well, no Ryan. Let's try Scotty, and then I think I'm totally okay with just skipping the touch and go this week, guys. I love connecting with you. But you know what? It just might not happen this week. Could just be the way things are. Scotty is, of course, the buddy of mine who put on the fundraiser last night and asked me to be a part of it. Let's see if he's gotten any feedback from the show yet. Of course, Scott has a real job, so he's probably not available to answer his phone during the day.
You reached Scott King at 61.
Yeah. Did I? I just reached your voicemail. I try to have at least 3 lined up just in case. Well, either way, maybe I'll do 2 next week to make up for it. It's been a long one. We're at 58 minutes anyways. So coming up this week, guys, I do have my doctor's appointment very, very soon. Still super, super nervous. And I hope to be able to make lots of fun of myself on next week's episode for being so nervous and afraid over what will hopefully be nothing. But then I got to come home, pack, get all my shit ready for Toronto, drop off iPads. That's another thing with these LCBO activations is that, like, you know, nobody's meeting, like there's nobody on hand who's going to be at the next shift. So like I've got to drive every time. I got to pick up iPads from someone, go drop them off to someone else. It's a giant pain in my fucking ass. Sorry to complain, but it is a giant pain in the ass. So it'd be nice if, like, I'm basically at all of these activations in Ottawa, you know, the ones I can be at. So it's frustrating that, you know, you don't have other people who are just like, yeah, I want the work and I'll work 4 days straight they're 4-hour shifts for fuck's sakes. Anyways, That's inside scoop, nothing important. So, tomorrow I'm going to be doing the costume fitting and then killing some time in Toronto. Thursday, I am doing that activation at Union Station. That is what I'm doing, and I'll tell you more about it next week. Again, I got to do these things. I got to get the info. I got to get the okay. They have to happen for me to be able to talk about them. Friday, I'm headed home because I have another one of these LCBO activations in the evening. Saturday, I'm doing a pet event. I'm excited for that. Back with my pals at Karma. Of course, the Valentine's Day things with Karma too. And then I have a show in Cornwall on Saturday night. So looking forward to that. That's going to be another opportunity for me to play around with some of the new stuff prior to me doing my headline week at Ottawa. I'd like to have some new jokes for that. For, of course, all my friends and family and fans that are coming out for that. I'm actually supposed to be doing a spot at Absolute Comedy Toronto this evening too, but I don't know if I'm going to get there in time with all the snowstorm and everything like that. So we'll find out. And then Sunday, more LCBO activations, of course, as early, Tuesday. So, I'll probably have the podcast recorded undoubtedly before then, but next week, guys. All right. So before you hear my voice again, my week of headlining at Absolute Ottawa will have begun. So I really do look forward to having you all out at that show. Come to that show if you can. Absolutecomedy.ca for tickets. I would love to see you guys there and, just have some laughs. And of course, maybe some of you I've never met before. It would be great to meet you in person. And actually hear me be funny for a change, because this podcast is very rarely... It's funny sometimes. Just a little bit lately, I've been so under the weather and I've been so stressed about shit that it's just been difficult for me to kind of let loose into the funny, because I'm just in sort of an anxious place. So gray skies will clear up. The winter depression will go away, and I will be back to my humorous, there you go, humorous state. Send me an email, guys. Let me know what's going on with you. Oh, here's Scott. All right, I'll give him a chance. Hey, Scott, welcome to the One Man Podcast.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Not too shabby. You are, in fact, being recorded right now on the air of the podcast. Just a heads up.
Seriously?
Yeah, I do a segment called Touch and Go. Every week I will sort of call someone and see how they're doing, what's new with them. It's just a little 4 or 5 minute thing to see what is new and exciting. And since I told the listeners about the fundraiser that we did last night, I thought I'd just give you a call to see if you've, did you have a good time? Have you received any feedback yet? Did everyone enjoy themselves?
Everybody absolutely enjoyed themselves. I mean, Absolute's always been an amazing partner as far as supporting charitable events or what have you. And with that, they always make sure that, well, even you, you always helped us out and made sure we had a good lineup. And, with Aaron and yourself, I've known you guys for years, and it's always nice to know, who you're working with. And the other gentleman, I didn't get his name, of course, from Toronto, I think it was.
Arthur?
It was awesome. Yeah. It was amazing. And there were so many, I keep getting messages today. Just everybody enjoyed themselves. They loved the venue, of course. And like I said, you and Aaron are always a favorite. I always get feedback. Oh, if you're doing another show, have those guys on. So
yeah, it's funny. I was in the green room when Aaron was on, so I didn't even see how he did.
He killed it. He always does.
Well, that's good. And your lovely lady there who we were raising funds for last night, did she have a good time?
She loved it.
Yeah.
The thing is, she usually, because of her condition, she's usually in bed quite early. But she pushed herself because she was so appreciative and overwhelmed by the support and the generosity of everybody who came out, but as well Absolute Comedy just being able to help us put something on like that. Yeah, she was genuinely in a very positive way overwhelmed with everything. Good. And even today, my girlfriend's with her now, and they're so happy. So it was, yeah. Good. It was, quite honestly, it was different for me to be on stage and see somebody crying, because she was so overwhelmed and so happy, and it was interesting, but she loved it, and yeah, it was amazing. The family was so appreciative as well. We raised over $3,000 for her.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Yeah. I'm really happy for you guys. I'm glad she had a good time too. because that's not an easy thing to have to deal with on a good time. So if we were able to distract her from that for long enough to have a fun evening out, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, and I can't thank you enough for.
I didn't fucking do anything. I just
yeah, man. I just love. I like watching you, and I know everybody else does too. So no, it was amazing. So it's
I'm glad you guys had fun. I just remember angry ranting at someone at one point. It makes it sound like I was hating us. I was just, oh, buddy, I had fun. I was just like, well, I think tonight was a little on the ranty side. So as long as everyone enjoyed themselves, I'm a happy guy.
Yeah. Oh, they absolutely did. People are just floored, and I'm glad that like some people have gone out that have never gone to see stand-up before, and they loved it. So, and that surprises me that people haven't done that.
Good, man. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. That makes me happy. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, dude, my pleasure. I'll let you get back to your day. This is the touch and go segment, buddy. It's just a little sort of checking in on you. How you doing? How are things? So aside from that, everything's good. You're happy, man?
Absolutely.
Wicked, buddy.
Absolutely, man.
All right. Well, avoid this crazy snowstorm that's headed our way.
Seriously.
And I'll chat with you soon, brother.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
All right. My pleasure, Scotty. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
There you go. All right. So you got a little touch and go right in the end there, guys. So send me an email, contact@onemanpodcast.com. I'd love to hear from you. Whatever you have going on, whatever you want to talk about. I don't give a shit. Just want to connect with you. So send me a little something. Let me know what's going on with you guys. Something to watch while I'm in Toronto. Maybe a good book to read or buy the audiobook version of. Would be great. Thank you to my sponsors, portablepress.com, absolutecomedy.ca, and of course, dk.com/ca in Canada, or just dk.com States. Anywhere else in the world, just Google DK Books, and we'll get you there. All right. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, One Man Podcast. So follow, like, whatever, subscribe to all that shit, and you'll get a little bit of extra content here and there. That is something that I'm working on in the new year. I've already spoken recently with the person who's going to be my new social media person, just in terms of a little bit of structure and direction. I've got too many separate accounts right now, so I'll be amalgamating. Like, I've got Josh Williams Comedy and One Man Podcast and then other things. And I think I'm just going to shorten them all. Just have them all under Josh Williams Comedy and have everything separate based on what it is at that point. Just make it a lot easier for me, because sometimes I'm like, do I put this under Josh Williams Comedy or do I put it under the One Man Podcast? Like, it is about my comedy stuff, but of course I'll talk about it to my podcast listeners. It's just too much. And of course, the more pots you have, the harder it is to manage them all. So, but just, hey, if you're following the One Man Podcast, socials, you'll be the first to know when shit starts to happen. And of course, subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening on. Subscribe on there. It's absolutely free, and you're going to be the first one to get the new episodes when they come out, as well as any additional content. It is episode number 92, guys. We're rounding home towards 100 episodes of this craziness. All right. So I appreciate all of you who've been here from the start. Any new listeners, hey, you're going to be around for, a momentous occasion. I've still 92 episodes in, never been late, never once been late, which is unreal for me. I've worked jobs, that for years where it's late all the fucking time, late all the time. But for some reason, I feel worse about, disappointing you guys who pay absolutely nothing for this podcast. You pay attention than the people who are paying me money to be there. So I don't know what that means about me, but it is true. So glad you guys are out there. Subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review, or 5-star rating and a written review, something like that, just on whatever you're listening to. And as far as it goes, guys, that's it for the week. I will talk to you next week with hopefully all sorts of positive information about the doctor, some fun stories about this thing I'm doing in Toronto, and all sorts of other things that may occur between now and then. You guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.